Hello, welcome back to my channel. So this is the promised shorter video about specifically the book Sapiens that I read yesterday. That I was reading yesterday during reading sprints, and that several people have been really interested in since I started it. So I did finish it, and I thought I'd tell you guys what I thought about it, and whether you want to read it. So, when I was in my mammalogy degree, study of mammals, all mammals, they're cute, most of them. There's a type of book that I read quite a few of, well, more than most people, called a natural history. You guys that read fantasy might have come across the natural history of dragons that came out a couple years back. I think the author was Brennan. Natural histories are like, if you're going to write a book about, octopuses, and your adventures hunting octopus dens or things like that, you might start your first couple chapters just talking about what we know so far about octopuses and the history of octopuses, and then move on to I took my ship out into the middle of the ocean and dropped an ROV and was exploring the seamounts where the octopuses live, and here's what I found. But the first part would be the natural history. It's just what do we know so far about that organism or about that set of organisms. Kind of their life history, their evolutionary history, where they came from, where they live, how they live, and anything else important about them. So Sapiens, to me, reads like a natural history of the Homo sapiens species. Where we came from, who we are, what we're doing, where we might go next. It's a natural history of humans. And for a human to be writing a natural history of itself is already a bold move. People have been writing histories of people for long enough. And this is kind of a popular anthropology book. The fields that you'd be studying to do the sciencey end of any of the chapters in this book would primarily land you in the anthropology department. There's some history, obviously, sociology, psychology, neurology, especially later on when they're talking about, what's going on with humans now and why, and that gets into some other subjects too. But if you study cultural anthropology, you're probably also studying some sociology and some other stuff. If you're studying physical anthropology, you're going to be studying other things. So anthropology is already one of those fields that draws from other fields anyway. If you like anthropology, you might like Sapiens. If you like Sapiens and are trying to decide what to study, you might consider looking at anthropology departments for possible home for yourself. So I think it's a really good litmus test for if you are someone that likes anthropology. It's not like bones exactly, although the early part of it does get into kind of skulls and bones and stuff a little bit. Not to where you're analyzing bones. It's not that level. So if you're looking for a sciencey science book, this is not that. The closest thing I've read out of the natural histories was a George S. Simpson A Natural History of the Horse. And it's been quite a while since I read it. I may not be getting the title quite accurate. It's no longer in print, I'm pretty sure. My mammalogy professor really liked this guy's work and had worked with him, I guess, way back when. And just was really impressed with Simpson just in general. So as a curious and very proactive student that semester, I went out and looked for Simpson's books in our university library and found the Natural History of the Horse. And that's one of those books that I thought of when we were talking about nonfiction in one of the sprints yesterday. Some nonfiction books, you may not be interested in the subject when you go into it, but the book draws you in. And I'm not really a horse person. I know how to ride, sort of. I can ride at all of the different rhythms without falling off. But obviously I don't know all the terms off the top of my head because I'm not really a rider. Horses are big. I'm not. So they're intimidating for me. And I've just never been into horses. One of my sisters used to want to be a horse when she was a little kid. She was going to grow up and be a horse. So, that was not me. But while I was reading this Natural History of Horses, I really liked that book. And for a little while, I really was fascinated by horses. And not just, the horse that we know now, but the whole equine segment of the It's morning, guys. You get a lot better brain power from me when I'm doing videos at night, to be honest. Anyway. Yeah. So the equine family, is it a family or a class? I think it's a family. But the equines, the horse, the zebra, the donkey, the mule, which is actually donkey and horse together, and then all those really cool equine species that used to be in South America, and the fact that horses used to be endemic to North and South America, and that in North America they went extinct. And there's our anthropological, archaeological evidence that the horse in North America may have partly gone extinct because it was hunted to extinction by humans. As in, the humans ate them. So when the horse returned and the American or Native American tribes here were riding them and became synonymous with the horse, and you get the Apache warriors riding out to go to battle with encroaching humans. The horse that they're riding, their ancestors would have been hunting the horse for food. So they get a second chance at dealing with an animal that could be used for so much more. So that's an interesting little vignette about humans, and it's fascinating stuff. But in South America, there were horses that were like dog-sized, and they're really cute. And there's all different sizes. Actually, the continent that had the most species of equines was South America. And now there really aren't that many left. So And that to me was amazing. And this was an old book, not a lot of pictures. All the pictures were, I think, just etchings. So the fact that I was that into it for it being old and not flashy, it was really good. So I would say Sapiens is not quite on the order of that book as far as drawing me in, but I think it's a lot more accessible for everyday readers. The Simpson book, I think a lot of people would also really get into. So if I find that that's still in print, or if it comes back into print, I will definitely share that information. Because if you're interested in horses, my professor was right. That really was a really good book. But yeah, so Sapiens, if you are heavily religious and heavily invested in your religion's interpretation of how the world works, you might find aspects of this book threatening. So if you are not someone reading for that kind of content, it may not be the book for you. You may find yourself really stressed reading it. You might not finish it, and you might be scarred for life and find it a little bit more difficult to accept the worldview that you've been enjoying for so long. So that is a I wouldn't say trigger warning, but an element to this book that might make it not for everyone. It is science-based, and it is not rooted in a particular religion. So I have a feeling a lot of extremist Republicans would be labeling this book as woke. I'll put it that way. It's not. It really is just science. But for people that find science threatening, it would be labeled in that category. Yeah. It does also get into things about humans being nasty to other humans, and there was a point at which it was tangential to some of the stuff that was going on in other books I've read. So for me, it dovetailed into Babel, because Babel gets into colonialism and you know, people from places that have been colonized and marginalized, and you know how they deal with that. And yeah. Well, I will talk more about the intersections in my books when I get to the end of the month, because I'm going to try not to say much more about Babel right now. Still trying not to add spoilers just yet, just because it is a favorite for the Battle of Bands, or Battle of the Girl Bands, and so many people are still reading it, and yeah. So that's Sapiens. If you have read it, let me know what you thought of it. If you haven't read it, definitely check it out, see what you think. I listened to it as an audiobook. I know one of my siblings has it in print, but since I had it available in audiobook, I just did that. I would imagine that in the print version there might be some images that would help out with understanding what's going on. Again, I have 3 degrees. One of my degrees is in ecology, so I have the background that I already knew a lot of the stuff, just not put together in quite that way. There was new information for me too, so it's not like it's all just super surface basic. But yeah, I did just fine with the audiobook, and I think most people would too. But if you are not someone with a science background, I would recommend getting the print book. You might want to make notes in the margins, and yeah. I highly recommend it. for just about everyone I know. And I think that most people I know in the booktube community might enjoy this book too. So, yay! A 5-star nonfiction from me that you might want to read too. I will see a lot of people on reading sprints sometime in the near future, no matter when you're watching this video. And I will be checking in again with a new video about my genre blanket, which hopefully will be more caught up by then, and showing off some of my treasures. I'm actually going shopping in a couple days at one of those Goodwill bin stores, where things go when they haven't sold at the stores. It's the last chance for stuff. So I might wait to do the video showing off my treasures until after I've come back from that, just so I can show off any other treasures I come back with. But that'll be coming up soon. A little, break from bookish content a little bit. There might be some bookish content anyway if I get any books. Hopefully you guys are having a good reading month and are enjoying the books you are reading. If you've read any excellent nonfiction I should try, put it in the comments and I will check it out. Talk to you again soon, guys. Bye!